Okay, so here's a couple of tips in general when it comes to practicing and learning chords. So the first thing is, where possible, try and have your finger as close as you possibly can to the fret that it's behind. So if you're behind the second fret, instead of having your finger here, try and have it right up here. So that doesn't mean on the fret, just right behind it, a couple of millimeters behind it, where possible. So you're going to have examples where you can't really do that, say E major for example, where my middle finger, I'd like it up here, but because I have to fit this one in as well, it's just got to be pushed back a little bit. That's not too big a deal. But in general, if possible, have it right up to the fret, because it just takes a lot less pressure. If I play here, if I just use the same pressure, move it up there, now it sounds perfectly fine. So the next thing is the shape of your fingers as you're holding them. So there are exceptions to this, but generally speaking, what you want is for your fingers to be pointing directly down on the string. So directly down. Instead of lying flat like this, you want them upright and pointing directly down. That way, they're only holding down the string that they need to be holding down, and they're not touching anything else. So if I have it lying down like this, my fifth string is going to be fine, but this one is going to be blocked off. So if I just angle it up like that a little bit, now we got both notes out. So it's not all the time. Usually you want them directly down. When it comes to your thumb, there's no absolute right or wrong way to have it, but generally you just want to have it out of the way and still in a position to give you enough leverage to get a tight squeeze on the fretboard. So here will be perfectly fine, as long as it's comfortable and out of the way. On the other hand, there are a couple of situations where you actually will want your thumb on the fretboard. For example, if you were playing a D chord, you don't want this E note in there as well. So what you can do, instead of avoiding it with your right hand, just mute them with your thumb like that. So you're not holding it down hard enough to play it like that. You're just muting it so you can strum fully, but not actually get those notes out. But generally speaking, if it's a normal chord where all strings are being played, you want to just have it here, plenty of leverage, and out of the way. And one more thing for when you're practicing is, whenever you play any chord, strum it of course, but at the same time play it one string at a time as well, just to make absolutely sure. So if you're playing here, you're strumming, and that sounds fine, but if you play it one string at a time, you might find something like this, where you're not getting the note out fully. So that's just a case of working your fingers around it until you find just the right spot, and you get all of it. Okay. Okay, so first chord on the list is A major. So that is open first string, second fret on the second string, second fret on the third string, second fret on the fourth string, and open fifth string. And as for the sixth string, we want to mute that just using the thumb, like that. So not pushing down on it, just touching it. There it is. So a common way of doing this, and it might be okay, is to go third finger, second finger, third finger, like that, all in a row. The problem there is that it's forcing my index finger all the way back here. And that means I've got to put down a lot of pressure on it to get a proper note. So to avoid that, what you can do is go third finger, first finger, second finger. So that way these two are right behind the fret, just where I want them, and then this one just tucks right in behind them like that. And one of the advantages of doing it this way is that it allows you to get those other variations of the chord in there as well without changing the shape of it, like A major 7. Just take this one down a fret on the third string, or take it off to open to get A dominant 7, A major 7, and back up to A. So next one we have is C major. So there we've got open E string, open first string, first fret on the second string, skip over the third string, we're going to leave that open, then second fret on the fourth string, then third fret on the fifth string. And like with the A major, we're going to get rid of this one. So with that, you can either use your thumb, or what I like to do, which is a bit easier, is if I just take my third finger and just move it up a little bit so that it's touching there. Now I can just get a full strum without having to worry about that string. So this is one of the more tricky ones because there's a bit of a reach in it. You're going across 3 frets. So one of the ways to get around that is if you start from the top and go back the way, as opposed to starting here and putting the rest of the fret on top like that. Because what happens a lot of the time is when you start here and start climbing up the way, this finger will start to slide up and you want to keep it down here. So the easiest way to do that is to start at the top and put it back down like that. And C major is one of those chords as well where it's really important to keep that form with your fingers, keep them coming straight down on the fretboard, not have them lying out, because then you're going to have blockage like that. So straight up, mute this string with either your thumb or your finger. And there it is. Next up is D major. So there we've got second fret on the first string, third fret on the second string, and then second fret on the third string. So you end up with a kind of a triangle shape like that. And with this one, you definitely want to get rid of the 6th string, and it's optional whether or not you get rid of the 5th. Here's it with the 5th and without. So it's a little bit more clear without the 5th, but it's a little bit more deep with it. Okay. So here you've just got these two down here on the bottom, then put this one in the middle, and there you have it. Next one is E major. So what we've got there is 2 open strings on the first and second. Then we're down on the first fret on the third string, second fret on the D string with your third finger, not your second, this one. Then second fret again on the 5th string, because this is an E chord and you've got the E note down here. We're leaving this one in. So you've got all 6 strings here. So once again, that's 2 opens, first fret, second fret with your third finger, second fret again, and open. Okay, next chord is F. Okay, so this is definitely one of the more difficult ones because it doesn't have its own shape. Its shape is based on E major. So if you're to play an E major chord, keeping your index finger free, so kind of switching it up here, take it up a fret, then you've got F. But because this kind of thing is a little bit difficult in the early stages, this is called a bar chord. We're just going to shorten it up to just barring these two, then second fret on the third string, and third fret on the fourth string. So the first hurdle to overcome with this is obviously barring like this, these 2 strings at the same time. So one way to make this a little easier is if instead of holding your finger flat down like that, roll it over to the side a little bit, because this part of your finger is a little bit harder than the front of it. So roll it over and just take it in stages. So just get this bit right first so that you can get these 2 notes clean like that. Then after a while, once you get comfortable with that, add in second finger on the second fret on the third string. Then once you can get all those out at the same time, add in the third finger, third fret, fourth string. And the last of the majors is G. So a little bit of an odd shape, but it's not too difficult if you approach it the right way. So you've got 3rd fret, 3rd finger on the 1st string. The next 3 are open. Then 2nd fret on the 5th string and 3rd fret on the 6th. Okay, so now generally the easiest way to do this one is because once you get these two down here, it can be a little bit difficult to get your finger down and kind of cover this gap and get it down here. So if you start off with this one and then pivot around on it to get these other two. So just when you're starting off, this one first, establish it tight so that it doesn't creep around as you pivot. Tightly, pivot, and get those other two. And there's G. Okay, so first one of the minors is A minor. So for that you've got open 1st string, 1st fret on the 2nd string, and like with E major you've got your 3rd finger, not your 2nd, on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, then 4th string, 2nd fret with your middle finger, open 5th string, and then generally speaking with A minor we want to get rid of the 6th string, so mute it with your thumb. Easy way to remember A minor is that it's exactly the same shape as E major, just taken down a string. So to go from E major to A minor, you just hold the shape, lift it up, put it back down a string, and you've got A minor. So another one is B minor. So B minor is a little bit like F major in the sense that it's not its own shape, it's based on the shape of a different chord. So for B minor, it's based on A minor. So if we take A minor and take it up by 2 frets, so you've got A sharp minor, then B minor. So that's 2nd fret, 3rd fret, then 4th fret on the 3rd string with your 4th finger, not this one, and then 4th fret again on the 4th string. So next of the minor chords is D minor. So you'll see that that's exactly the same as the D major chord, but with this note taken down a fret. So goes is 1st finger on the 1st string on the 1st fret, 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, so that's, and then you've got your 2nd finger, 2nd fret on the 3rd string. And like with D major, you want to mute definitely the 6th string and maybe the 5th string as well, depending on what kind of texture you want. And the last of the open minor chords is probably the easiest of them all actually, it's E minor. So all you've got there is 3 open strings, 1, 2, 3, 2nd fret on the 4th string and 2nd fret on the 5th. And with this one the E string is definitely included. So as for the rest of the chords, for example, we didn't do C minor or G minor or B major. That's because they don't really have their own shape. You have to, like F major and B minor, you kind of have to base it off something else. So for example, if I wanted F minor, I would just go to E minor and take it up a fret. But you can't just take these two because you're leaving the rest behind. So that means that your index finger has to bring all of them up. And you have to hold them all at the same time, and that's called a bar chord. And that's how you get all the other chords. So for example, G sharp minor would be here. Or it could be up here. So you take the A minor shape, bring it up by 11 frets, and then you've got G sharp minor. The same applies with B minor that we've just done. A minor, bring it up by 2 frets, B minor. So this takes a while to get the hang of because you really do need a lot of pressure even if you're right up to the frets. So again, like with F when you're barring here, try to use the side of your finger because it's a little harder, and obviously you've got to change the shape because normally if you're using your index finger normally in a chord like that, you need to switch it up like this so that your index finger is free for that bar chord.